This is my Model 3, and it is one before the Highland refresh. That means, as you can see, it doesn't come with any interior lighting on the inside. But we're about to change that, and we're going to add actually more interior lighting than the Highland comes with, so don't be too jealous. We have this amazing kit that we're going to use to light up our Tesla. So we have a few things in here. We have an armrest light that's going to go along this part right here. We also have this center console light, and that's going to go right here. This I'm super excited for because it shines down this entire area and it's going to look amazing. You also get this super long strip right here, and this one is going the entire length of your dash. You're basically going to put some 3M tape on it and stick it right in here. I'm super excited for this, so let's get to installing. The last thing that it comes with, this controller right here, it plugs in right underneath there, no problem, so that whenever you open your doors, it automatically turns on. You don't have to do anything for this to work. It's super plug and play, super easy. First step of this install is going to be removing this back panel right here. You're gonna get the bag that has the power cord, adapter, and the tools in it. We're gonna need these 3 items, only one of these though, to remove this back here. This back part right here is what we need to remove. You can see that there's a little line right here. So we're gonna take the pry tool and get in here. You wanna open the left side first and then go to the right side. Use the bigger end of the pry tool. You're simply popping out all of these clips right here and getting access to this. You're gonna have to finesse it a little bit because it is quite tight down here, but that's it plugged in, split out, and you can see that we now have this power cord right here. From there, you're gonna wanna go back to the box and get the controller. This kit is expandable, so you can take the controller out. You can see that you have an armrest light, footwell light, you have a place for the power to go in, dashboard light, and center console light. So all these plugs, if you wanna pick up more lights, you can plug in here, use the same module. Now that we have it plugged in, we can test a few things. So I'm grabbing the armrest kit. It's gonna come with this that goes out of the control unit, goes to these 2 heads, and then you're basically going to just plug the end of this strip into here, and then we have to run it up there. And this cover needs to come off too. There's just clips holding this down as well. You're gonna pull it up, and that's gonna come off just like that. It's held in by this cable right here, so we're just going to gently place it. Okay, that wasn't very gentle, but find something to rest it on like that. Now, if you open the armrest, you can see that there's some light passing through right here, and that is basically where the wire from up there is gonna run through to get down here. So we can take our light strip. You're gonna wanna find the center of it. They give you plenty of excess room, but it's going to be about right here. And so you're gonna take this and shove this little thin piece right here in between the panel gaps. So a trick that I find with these corners is if you go on this area back here and you start shoving it in, you can push excess up here to get it in the corner easier. Also, if you have like a pry tool or a spudger or something, you can use that to help push it in further. However, I'm having some pretty good success just using my fingers and a whole lot of patience. This panel actually clips into here, so if you want some more room, you can remove this right here. So you see this between the plastic and the carpet right here? If you pull that apart a little bit, that's where this is gonna go. So you don't need to pull that off unless you want more room for it to go in here. So there's a few different gaps you can put this through, but everything seems kind of tight except this one. So I'm just going to shove it in here, pull it down, and it's gonna sit like this. On the back, it comes out like that. Now we're just gonna do that for the other side. And unless this is fully open, you're not gonna be able to tell. It still looks pretty clean though. And the hinge still functions, no problem. If I close it like this, you can see that the wires freely slide back and forth, so there's no biting or pinching. Now you can take this and you're going to just plug each hole into each receiving end. Technically, this is a transmitting end because it's going to transmit the light. You really have to push it in to make sure it's secure. Pretty good design. And I'm actually going to disconnect this and feed the wire up. Super easy, fishing up through the bottom. I was able to get the wire through here. So we're just going to plug it into where it says power cord, because that's obviously the power. And then we have armrest light. So we're going to go to the one that says armrest light and see what we get. And boom, look at that. It is super bright, even during the day. Next, we're going to install the center console light. This one is going to go underneath here. You have 2 options with this one. You can either just shove it in or you can use 3M tape. I like being super secure, so we are going to peel off this backing and use the 3M tape. So it's stuffed back in there so you can barely see the light. You won't even know it's there until you turn it on. We have the wire coming out on this side, and now it's time to tuck it. So for this one right here, we have all this wire that can make it to the back. You're gonna want to stuff it underneath here and then it's gonna run all along here to the back. You could use a tool for this, like the ones that it came with, and you can gently just push the wire in between the seams, and it's gonna run underneath the entire way just like this. Moving the chair down does help get in here. This is gonna come over this little circle-y bit right here and back up here. And you can see it tucks back here. You can see how I pulled the fiber optic cable out right here, and that's because if you wanted to, you could put it back this way as well. I think I'm going to redo mine to where it's this way. I originally didn't do it because it again pinched the fiber optic cable, but when you have that thicker black wire going above it, it's not going to pinch the fiber optic cable. You're totally fine if you want to run it through the hinge area as well. This way is just a little bit cleaner, though in all honesty, it really makes no difference. And if you don't want to worry about pinching it at all, run it through the hinge area. I've been rocking the hinge area for about a week or two now, and the lights still stay in, no problem. Right? That's really sharp, isn't it?
I think so too, yeah.
So this thicker wire is going to run between the carpet and the plastic. So this one can get tucked back here. You could take these wires and put them in here as well, but this is really sharp and I don't want it to cut this, so that's why it's going through here. You could take a Dremel and make this bigger and it'll give it a better fit and finish, so I'm going to do that later, not in the video, but just cut out a little bit right here. So this wire comes out, we can go to our main board, center console light, and let's light it up. Not super bright during the day, but it's definitely still there and it looks super cool. I can't wait to see that at night. It's gonna look amazing. You can already kind of see it reflecting off the charging pad right there. So I am excited to see that one at night. Because I was a bit silly and I forgot to talk about the front part before I installed it. Take a look at this animation it does. It's a lot cooler at night, but it does it for the top one, and this will light up, and this is gonna light up as well, and then after it does the animation, it lights up like this. So I'm gonna show you how to get this installed in place, and it looks super sick. To have this come out, we're going to take a few of these panels off. First, we're gonna pull this weather stripping back a little bit so that we can remove this panel right here. This one takes a lot of force to remove. It's gonna look like this on the back. And then you can remove this one right here. So these two clips are just gonna hold it in like this. Man, this thing is difficult to get off. You're gonna wanna pry it up from here, and then from this end, pull this out. Now you have more access. There's this tiny, tiny gap, and good thing this light bar is so thin, because if you want it done super cleanly, lift this up, and you can slide it out just like this. Really pull up on this part right here. I'm telling you, you gotta pull up on this and you're gonna be able to feed the wire through. So you can see that the wire is fed in through here and it stops right about here. There's a little notch and that's where that again is gonna stop. And now you could just use your adhesive and stick it along here or shove it in that little crevice right there, which is what I'm going to do. And boom, I don't know how long that was, but it took a minute. And with a lot of patience, it's installed. It's super clean, you can barely see it, but now let's make sure you see it and plug it in. So you're gonna take this, gonna go down here, and it's gonna go right between this panel and this panel right here. Once you have it tucked all underneath here, run it down here and it's gonna come out here. From there, you're just gonna go and tuck it underneath here all the way to the back. So once you do that, just like the other side, we're tucking it back here. And now we can take this and plug it in to where it says dashboard light and see what it looks like. And bada bing, bada boom. It is super bright. You can see it during the day. All of these lights are. So it's time to close it up back here. I moved the seat back a ton and now we're pushing it forward so that we have more room to work here. Always adjust your seat so you have plenty of room. So we're just gonna take our control module as well as these light strips and everything. Make sure nothing is snagged on anything. And we're simply going to push it down into this cavity. And then we can put our air cover back on. And so now let's put these panels back on. And this one is simply just gonna get clipped into place. Super simple, super easy. The wire is just tucked behind here, and then you're going to grab this bad boy. The bottom is gonna go in first because it's slightly curved like this. So make sure you get it behind the weather stripping, and up here you're just going to, and it snaps in like that. Make sure your weather stripping is now aligned up before you close the door so you don't damage it. You might notice that it's nighttime now. So let's check and look at the, oh my goodness, see the car is on because I'm preheating it and you can see it's already lit inside. It does a cool startup animation. I'll show it to you later, but I guess if you prepare the car already before you get in, this is what it looks like. That is super futuristic. And now the future looks like the future. Well, I have it on the purple mode right now. Look at that. That just looks so beautiful. Amazing. They did a beautiful job on these lights. Just lock it. You can see it completely in the dark now. It literally looks like a giant lightsaber. We'll close this. And once the doors close, it locks, it turns off the lights. We're gonna install these footwell lights. Check these out. If you haven't seen the previous video, go check it out where we removed all of this center console area. It's literally just clipped in and you're gonna pull it out. You might need some pry tools, but it's really simple. It can't really break anything. I'll also show you how to wire in this module. I'll have that in the description below. Without further ado, let's get to the footwell lights. In the bag, you're going to get your footwell lights. First off is the wiring harness. This is going to connect all of the lights to the control module right there. You're also going to get a few tools, and these are going to help you pop out and unscrew any screws that are in the front up there so that we can get these in. There's 2 for the front and 2 for under these seats right here. So you're going to light everything up. You're also given some zip ties to keep things nice and tidy. With that all out of the way, let's get to it. We're in the driver's side footwell. You can see that there's these clips. There's one right here, for example. There's another one back here. So if you look under here, only this part comes off. Nothing on the right side. There is a bolt over there. You actually don't need to remove this screw. You can leave it in. From there, we're gonna want to unplug this light back here after pulling this down. After you unscrew the screws and pull out the little pop rivets, you'll have this part right here and this part right here that just clips into the top. You're gonna want to simply pull it down and this will be released. We're gonna want to now release this. There's a tab back here. You're gonna want to push it down and pull it out. It's pretty simple. So the tab looks like this. You're gonna press it down from the back. You can see how it depresses it, and then you can just pull it out. To remove this, there's this clip on top that holds it into place. It's pretty simple. All you're gonna do is just pull it back and pull this out. This is the light that we're going to need to replace now. There's these 4 tabs. Use your thumb, push it on one side, and then keep applying pressure, and then use your screwdriver to continuously push it down and in, and then it should pop past here. And this is your OEM footwell light. You're going to feed this through. Make sure you have it on the correct way so it goes back in like this. And you're gonna want to feed the wire through towards the inside of the car. Push it in from this side first, and then on the back side, use your fingers right here to just click it in. Now coming to the back, you want to move your seat all the way forward to give you plenty of room. You're going to want to find the one that says footwell light. This is going to go into the control module, and it's easiest to snake this up from the bottom instead of having to snake all of these lights. So from the bottom, you're going to want to kind of pull this out. There's also 2 screws underneath here. They're torque bits. If you find it easier, you can remove them because it allows you to pull the plastic a little bit towards you. We're able to pull this out and get it up here like this. This is great doing this pretty early on, as you can now test the lights to make sure they're all good and start plugging them in individually. Now is where we're going to want to find one that says front row, and this one is going to snake along to the side right here. That'll be step 1, getting it along here. And it's important that you move the front seat forward because the carpet splits right here and right here. So you'll take one of the front row wires, make sure it is untangled. There's gonna be a little cutout in the carpet right here. What you're gonna want to do is fish this through here. Once you put it in through there, it's gonna come out of this vent right here. This is where the carpet separates. The wires are gonna come out from underneath here. This makes it pretty simple because this is a pretty big gap. Push the LED head underneath here, and then you're gonna have to pull this carpet up and really just push it in and make sure it comes out straight. If you have some fishing wire, really thin fishing wire, you could attach it to that and push it in. Have it, look at that. So after a lot of patience, pulled it out from underneath the carpet. You're gonna wanna take this carpeting, pull it out. There's this little channel underneath the seat. Once you pull back the carpeting, there's a big gap right here that I'm gonna pass this through because on the other side, there is a slit for the carpet, and you can just push this. You can see it comes out on this side like that. We're going to take this, it comes out from here, and you can pull it through if you have enough slack. It's important that you're not tugging on the wire. Make sure you have a good amount of slack. Move your seat forward as much as possible, and from here you could tuck it underneath this carpet and then have it run underneath here. So once you tuck it under, push it underneath this panel. Once you push it underneath this panel, you can run it all the way along up to here. You don't want to start tucking it in until you make sure you have the correct length. So I'm going to pull this out for now, and I'm going to pull it all the way through so that I know how much that I need. Now that we have enough of this, you can plug it into here. Let's just make sure before we put all this together that it lights up. So coming all the way back to the control unit right here, you're going to want to just test this by plugging in the footwell section. Once it's plugged in, you should see it light up like this. Now we're going to start putting it back. It helps if you move your seat back a little bit, and from here, pay attention to the clips. You don't need to worry about this because you are not going to use it anymore. This was just the OEM footwell lighting that you can just tuck back there. This Ethernet cable is pretty important. You're going to want to make sure it goes back where it belongs. So that just slots into place. So I unplugged it because I want to wire it better. To do so, take this slack, push it along the side here, but up more. So push it all the way up through here. You can give it tons of slack. Put it in, have it go over here. So right in front of this gap. Make sure it is aligned, and you can just slide it back in. So it's clipped back in completely. There is still slack here, and all you need to do is tuck it behind here. And you'll tuck it all the way underneath behind this panel. As you can see, there's no wire, just a bunch of leaves along here. There's a little bit of wire, but we can remedy that by tucking it into here. Boom. Completely gone. You can't even tell. It's right behind the carpeting. If you move the seat forward and go to the back, carpeting is still here, but let's not put it back yet because we want to do the lighting back here. Underneath here, it's not going to show up very well in camera, but there's a little bit of metal frame. What you're going to want to do is take one of these guys and put it between the frame. If you want to, you can use these zip ties to hold it steady, but the frame against the cushion is enough pressure to hold the light in place, no problem. Once it's in, find one that says back row. Now this is dangling right here. I've put it in, it sits in there. We're gonna have to take this and put it underneath here with this wire so it can come out through here. What do you think? I just need to get this in here. Oh, okay. Angle it and then push it in. Try to pull up the carpet as much as you can so you can get as much in there as possible. And then once it's in there, it will come a little bit easier. And it's finally come out. That took a very long time. So after a lot of patience, we finally got it through and connect it to make sure everything is all good. Boom, all good. Pull it through as much as possible. Make sure you have a little bit of slack here. The most important is that you have slack here. Your seat moves, so you want to make sure tuck this under that carpeting so that you have enough slack for the seat to move forwards and backwards. Tuck all this back here. We can now put the carpeting back. Looks good. I'm just going to pull this out a little bit. You're really not going to notice it. And I'm going to finish tucking the carpet just like that. So I've left a lot of slack for the seat to move forwards and backwards, and this won't cause any issues here. If any of these came unclipped, just push it back in, and you're pretty much done for this side. We're going to repeat it on the next side as well.
Under the glove box in the passenger side footwell, you're going to come up to something that looks like this without this LED strip. See, I tried to do this myself. Buying it from Tialloyelf is so much better because it's like, what is this? It's a whole strip running across, and it doesn't even stick because of the plastic. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. There's going to be 4 pins, 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here. They look like this. You're just going to want to pop all of them out. And after popping all of them out, you're going to get the pins that look like this, still clipped in up here. So what you're going to want to do is pull down to remove it from those clips, and this one up here. Once that's done, all you're pretty much going to do is pull towards you and pull down and out. So remember, this is my LED strip. I'm going to get rid of that in a second, but this is what it should look like. Now be careful because there is a wire connecting to this speaker right here. And there's this one connecting to this LED, the footwell light, that we are going to want to remove. Remove this one the same way by pushing down on this little plastic tab at the end and then pulling straight out. And then we're going to remove this the same way, where we have to press in these little side parts and then push this down to get it through here. So I figured out a secret to kind of get this out. Pretty simple, or it makes it a little bit easier, is when you take your pry tool and because you know how these sit above this plastic line, the little tabs here, push them down individually while also using your thumb to press down. It'll create a little bit of a space between the plastic part that's sticking out and the black plastic right here. And what you can do is shove another pry tool or your pry tool in on the bottom, just kind of angle it, and it will pop this out. So that's how I got this one out. And now we are going to take our LED light, the replacement for that, and put it in here. After you fish that wire through and that clip on one side, what you can do is push it more and then pop the left one into place. And now you have your light sitting right here. It'll look like this. And now what we need to do is run the connecting cable to here, and that way we can install it back here. Now, I did a few things to help you see a little bit better. First off, I removed this and I removed this. This is the middle panel that would go and cover right here. The only thing holding it in are these clips, so you're just going to want to pull it down kind of away from the center. For this one, it's being held in by this cable right here. After you pull it off, all you need to do, because it rests right here, is pull the little tab on this that's securing it and then pull it back, and you can separate it from there. That way you have all of this open and free. I also took out my floor mat. That helps to see. Move this front seat forward. And unlike the other side, there's not a lot of room in the carpet to shove these under. So another way that we're going to do this instead is putting it underneath the rails. If you can't get a lot of room back here, go a little bit more forward, and near where the air vent is, you'll have a lot of room. From there, you can actually just tuck this wire underneath the carpet, starting kind of from here. Make sure you leave some slack over here in case you ever need to service it or anything. You can also tuck it underneath this plastic panel right here. So I've tucked it underneath the carpet all the way out here, and then it's coming out on the other side of the railing right there. Should look something like this. From here, we're going to continue to tuck it underneath this carpet and then run it along here. To get a more realistic representation of the length that we have, I've plugged this into this LED light. I've also hidden away that extra cable because we don't need it. I'm going to plug the speaker one back into the speaker, and then we are going to shove this up in to here, and then we can use these clips to clip it back together. Where is this wire going to go? Well, there is a little bit of gap between here and the actual back part right here, and we're going to use that gap to slide our cable underneath this panel and then all the way underneath this panel to back here, which we can go underneath this bit of carpet right here. You can see the light is in now, and with this excess cabling, remember I'm removing this LED strip. Don't need it anymore because this is so much better, because look, there's no strips. All you do is tuck it behind here. For a more true perfect fit, you can pop off this panel a little bit. It's no big deal. If you want to pop it off completely, all you need to do is remove this weather stripping first and then pull this up. I've done that so that this wire can really tuck behind here. And once that's done, just press it down and you see absolutely nothing except my mess. Don't worry about that. And now we just need to do the back row the same way as we did the other side. So I did end up zip tying that one because it just kept falling loose. Do the same thing to this side. This is the metal that I was talking about, that you kind of put it in between right here, and then you could zip tie it to the metal. That's how we get the slide in here. Once you do that, then you're done with your footwell ambient lighting. So I hope this video helps. If you have any question, please leave comments below. If you want to get your own with a discount link, check out the description below. And if you want to know more about these, the ambient lighting up there, down here, or in here, check out the links in the description. Get the whole package. We're going to be installing the seat back lights. I've done a previous video about how to take off this back part right here, and this is what you need to remove. Super simple, by the way, to get this control module up here, and this control module is going to be what all of the lights plug into. So if you want to light up your back seats, we're about to do that right now. Opening it up, there's a few things you're going to get. First, you're going to get 2 of these fiber optic strands. After this, you're going to get these cables. So you have this one. This is going to go into the control module, which is over there. And then this one is going to plug into this. This would be for like one of these sides, and then this would be for the other one. And then they just link together, and then the light shines through these. Trust me, it's super important the way you put your tape on this fiber optic light. I don't know what happened to my previous footage. I had recorded where I didn't install it yet, and I was installing it, but we're not gonna dwell on that. So this is what it should look like when it's done.
It's not perfect, as you can see a little bit of the tape sticking out right there. I might go in later and kind of just press that down a little bit, but you're gonna wanna make sure that one side has tape. Now, the two ends are going to look different. One of them is completely cylindrical like this, and the other end is cylindrical with a little bit of rectangle sticking out as well. Now, the part that's only cylindrical is going to go towards the middle of the car. The part that is cylindrical and has a rectangular kind of tab is going to go all the way along here to the very edge of the cabin. It's going to be on this side. Remember, the cylindrical part and the rectangle part. Same thing for that one. The cylindrical part, the one that's only cylindrical, is going to come down here. The part that's cylindrical and rectangular is going to go away from the cabin. When you put your tape on here, you should have it on different sides. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, because it's going to be awful having to redo the tape if you do it incorrectly.
Now, once you run this through, you want to connect these end parts. You can see it says seek backrest light on both of them, both sides. Now, you want to make sure it's not in this middle channel here, because it could get crushed when you're lowering the seat. My seat's all the way up right now. One way to make sure to keep it on this side is to have it go underneath this part right here, where the leather is being held to the seat. So I'm going to run this wire through here, or underneath here on both sides. So it should look something like this. That wire is being secured here. If you want to make it even more secure, think about zip tying it to this. Now, on each side, since you're given two of these Y splitters, what you're going to want to do is plug this into here, and then look at your footwell lights. You're going to plug into here and split the power and have this go to that other footwell light right here. So it should look like the following, where this back part uses a splitter, splits between the footwell and then the backrest light. So you can see it'll change colors as this one is changing colors. They're linked together. And then you can just tuck any wire back here, zip tie anything. Just make sure, and I mean make sure, when you move the seat forward and back, you have enough slack. To do this, get like a second person and make sure that as you're moving this forward and backwards, you don't run into any problems with the wires snagging. Or you yourself can adjust it to the maximum point back or maximum point forward, and then come back here and check. And then you can see if everything looks good underneath here. Try tugging on things just a little bit, just to make sure there's a little bit of slack here. And then you're just going to repeat that for the other side, where you use this one. You can see this looks a whole lot different. This is cleaned up. How did I clean this up? Well, let's get to it. So the command module is now back here. All these wires up top I've pushed in back here as well. Now the wires from the bottom are running up through this channel right here, and then the same thing on this side. I pushed them back underneath here, and for the bigger wire that we need to run up here, the two wires, I ran them along the side here. Now you can run them along the side. There's two ways you can do this. You can run them, now there's two ways you can do this. You can run them along the side, or you see that pin right there? Well, this is just clipped in. Underneath that is some empty space. And that's how I got the fat wire through. I put it underneath here and ran it all the way up here. So now it's just time to clip the panels back in. So now we'll do a little light montage. So now all you gotta do is clip the panels back in, and we'll do a little light montage.